Hello and welcome to the holiday track here at ConTinual. I'm your host, Gail Martin, and today we are talking about holiday sci-fi and fantasy. Now that can mean whatever our panelists want it to mean, so hang on because we're going to have a great sleigh ride as we go through whatever we're going to talk about. But before we crack that open, let's let our wonderful panelists introduce themselves, starting with Leslie.
Hi, I'm Leslie. I go right under LR Gould. I write the Peterson Apostle Monster Hunter series, collected in the Beginner's Luck. More appropriate to this one is Polar Protocol, which happens right around the Christmas time frame. So I'm looking forward to you all getting a chance to read that. But so I write science fiction and urban fantasy mainly, and that's me.
Okay, Ginny.
I'm Jeanne Koch.
Oh,
sorry.
Which one? Ginny or Jeannie?
Ginny.
Ginny. Go, Ginny.
Okay. This happens to us a lot. I'm Ginny Koch. I write the Alien Catherine Kitty Cat series for Doll Books. I also write under a variety of other pen names and in all lengths and genres, and occasionally holidays seep in somewhere in there.
Okay, Nancy.
I'm Nancy Northcott. I write historical fantasy for Falstaff Books, and with Jeanne Adams, who has the world behind her, I write the Outcast Station science fiction series, and we do actually have a holiday volume in that. And I also write various types of romance.
Nice. Toni?
Hi, I'm Toni Kelner. I'm also Lee Perry. I write the Family Skeleton Mysteries as Lee Perry. And I had one sitting here a minute ago. I don't know if it'll show up. It won't show up with the background. There it is. Okay, it won't show up. Anyway, I write the Family Skeleton Mysteries as Lee Perry, and as Toni Kelner, I co-edited several urban fantasy anthologies, including one called Wolfsbane and Mistletoe about werewolves and Christmas.
Cool. Samantha.
Hi, I'm Samantha Bryant. I write the Menopausal Superhero series, and when I'm not writing hero, I write horror. So that makes my writing life half hero and half horror, which is the same as my day job, teaching middle school. This is my book birthday almost. My first copy of Be the Change, which is the fourth novel in the Menopausal Superhero series, came today, which cheated because it's not actually supposed to release for 2 more days.
Nice. Patrick.
I am Patrick Dugan. I write the Darkest Storm series for Falstaff Books. I also write The Watchers of Asteria through Distracted Dragon, which is my steampunk adventure series.
And Jeannie.
Yes, finally my turn. I'm Jeanne Adams. I write urban fantasy, paranormal romantic suspense, and space adventure with my darling friend Nancy Northcott.
And I'm Gail Martin and Morgan Bryce. As Gail, I write epic fantasy, urban fantasy, and more. As Morgan, I write urban fantasy, male paranormal romance. And hijinks ensue. So let's start with if you've got a holiday of any kind in anything you've written. And if not, is there a book that you read that included a holiday in it that became memorable to you? Ginny?
Okay, so the fourth book in my Alien Catherine Kitty Cat series, Alien Proliferation, happens at Christmas. And spoiler alert, I mean, the first book in the series came out going 11 years ago. So if you haven't caught up yet, I'm really sorry. Character has her first child on Christmas Day, while people are trying to kidnap an infant and take over and destroy the world. So Christmas definitely does feature in lots of things are closed, people are on skeleton crews and things like that, so it really does affect them. Because it's their child's birthday, Christmas does show up again as somewhat significant throughout the series as Jamie ages. So I've got it in. Otherwise, I have an alien-based holiday, Arrival Day, that they celebrate, but you haven't really seen much. You do see what an alien wedding looks like, and a few other things. So I have most of my holidays, if they're happening, are probably happening in the Alien series.
Okay. Nancy.
Well, I have Christmas on Outcast Station, which I wrote half of, and Jeanne Adams wrote half of. They're 2 novellas. My story is about a deputy marshal on our planet that we made up that's kind of the armpit of human space. And he is the bottom man on the totem pole and the top one on the boss's excrement list, only he doesn't say excrement. And so he'll be working Christmas. And as it happens, a member of a politically powerful and influential alien race is killed on the spaceport. And of course, guess who gets assigned to the case? Partly because his boss, as I said, hates him and figures if he can't solve this, then, you know, that's a strike against him in his career. So he's working Christmas. And it's kind of an example of be careful what you wish for. Because for him, one of the bright spots of this posting to the armpit of nowhere was the chance to learn about this alien race who are nearby. Only he finds that they're really not what you might call fond of humans, and they're not very hospitable. So it's kind of not shaping up to be a good Christmas for Hank when the story opens.
Okay. Toni.
Well, let's see. On the paranormal side, I did the urban fantasy anthology, and now I've gotten rid of my snow background. You can see the cover. And what we asked people to do was to write short stories that were about Christmas and werewolves. And we had no idea what was going to come out of it, but we got such a wide variety. We had we in the course of it, we found out that Saint Nicholas is the patron saint of werewolves, and he actually is the patron saint of wolves. In my story, I brought the idea of werewolves into into the original Christmas story, because who said those were dogs in the mangers? Maybe they were werewolves, or at least wolves. So there's a lot. It was surprising that there was such a wide variety. We had someone giving a Christmas present, and I'm trying not to spoil the different stories, but in Charlene Harris' story, someone gave a Christmas present, which was not your typical Christmas present, but when your fairy godfather is a fairy godfather, he's going to give you something special. So it was interesting. I really liked seeing different perspectives on Christmas, and that was a lot of fun. On the mystery side, which is paranormal mystery, is the skeleton stuffs the stocking. Now we can see that. And honestly, the Christmas in that one was a lot more at the background. It was when the murder took place, rather than Christmas as the center of the story. So it was kind of just giving it flavor, more like a Die Hard with a skeleton.
That's such a great series. That's such a great series.
Samantha.
So I haven't written a whole lot of holiday work, but I do have one Christmas story that I wrote for Patricia, the Lizard Woman of Springfield. And it was included in a charity anthology a couple of years ago called Christmas Lights. This is number 9 because they've been doing this for a while. And it's called Oh Scaly Night, and features Patricia's run-in with a domestic abuse situation. Which I know that sounds dire, but trust me, with Patricia, it's also funny.
Okay. Jeannie.
Oh gosh, I love writing things at holidays, so I have lots of them. I have a Thanksgiving novel, very short Thanksgiving novel. I have the other half of Christmas on Outcast Station, which is the space station hijinks at the holidays, and that involves a lot of carols. I have a Christmas story called A Yule to Remember in my Haven Harbor Witches series. And Gail and Nancy and I are all 3 in Castle series, which is both Christmas at Canham Castle and Halloween at Canham Castle. So, and now New Year's at Canham Castle. So I love holidays. If there's a holiday, I will write a book around it.
Okay. Patrick.
I don't have holidays in my books. So I am without a book to show for holidays. I'm going to jump on L.R. Gould, though, because Polar Protocol is one of my favorite Christmas books. So it is fantastic. So.
And L.R.
Well, I'll just have to take that and run with it. So Polar Protocol is the 3rd installment in my Monster Hunter series, following Matthew Peterson. He's a sergeant in the Army, gets to come home for Christmas for the first time in 4 years since he left home. And as soon as he gets off the bus, a Monster Hunter buddy of his hijacks his entire Christmas to help him search for some missing kids that are disappearing right before Christmas. So he ends up teaming up with some unusual Monster Hunters he wasn't expecting to successfully find out what's happening. So
Oh, sounds good. So my epic fantasy series aren't set in our world, so they don't celebrate any of our usual holidays, but everybody's got winter. And so in my Chronicles of the Necromancer series, they do celebrate Winter's Tide, which is a little more of a Yule kind of celebration. And that has all kinds of special things that go with it, which is really fun. On the urban fantasy side of things, Jeannie mentioned the Caneham Castle books, and our new one, New Year's Eve, Ring in the New at Caneham Castle, just came out at the beginning of December, and so we're excited about that. I've got a psychic medium and a homicide detective chasing a Krampus-like monster at the holidays in that's part of my Badlands series for Lucky Town. Of course, one of the characters has to decide whether facing a monster or facing his future in-laws is the scarier part of the holiday.
That's so much fun.
Yeah, it's a toss-up. It really is.
It is.
In Dark Rivers, we've got some monster hunters who are hunting demons and a dark warlock at the holidays, and that puts a special twist on it. And then we've got a couple of short Christmas stories for free on Prolific Works. The Christmas Spirit, which is in the Kings of the Mountain series under my Morgan Bryce name, and that's got a haunted snow globe. And the Christmas Crunch, which is in the Witchbane series, and it is how, the first Christmas together can be kind of fraught. So that's what we've got for Christmassy stories on our side of things. Now, one of my favorite memes that you see show up around this time is somebody who says, is the little graphic that says, "I love Christmas and all of the wonderful book-shaped packages under the tree with my name on them." So, what's the best book that you ever got or read or gave around a holiday? Nancy?
Oh, I just knew you were going to start with me. I can't.
Nancy's was probably about the history of Richard III.
Yeah, of course
Well, it would
is.
be, but if I get started on Richard III and Christmas and history, we'll be here a while. So, I'm coming up totally blank. So I'm just going to I'm going to take a pass on this one and let you go to someone who actually has an answer.
Okay. Toni, that means she just threw you under the bus.
Thanks so very much. A Christmas miracle. My husband and I give each other so many books every year, so it's hard to say. But one I thought was really fun was I got had written a Christmas book in a different series, and it wasn't science fiction or fantasy. It was called Mad as the Dickens, and it was set around a production of A Christmas Carol. And a lady who I didn't even know, but who had read my book, sent me an annotated copy of A Christmas Carol for Christmas that year. And it was just totally out of the blue. And I thought that was so sweet.
That's lovely.
This year, one of my favorite gifts I'm giving is a book. I don't know if y'all saw the series that was on Netflix, Maya and the Three, which is this gorgeous animated series, which has lots of skeletons in it. So I loved it. And I happened to know kind of the two of the people who wrote it. And I saw they were doing a signing at Dark Delicacy, so I got a copy of the art of the Maya and the Three signed for my daughter, who's an aspiring animator. And so we've got that to put under the tree. It just came in the mail yesterday, signed by the two writers and the guy who did the art and design. So that's one of my favorite ones I'm giving this year.
Okay. Samantha?
So I'm not probably receiving any books. I didn't receive any for Hanukkah, and I don't think I'll be getting any for Christmas. But the reason for that is that I buy myself a book as soon as I want it, and then there's nothing left on the list for other people to buy me. I probably spend half my salary on books. So that's probably not much of an exaggeration, but I do really love buying books for other people. And some of my fond ones were, when I could buy for my children. They're harder to buy for now because they're 14 and 21, and I don't know what they bought themselves, and their taste shifts so fast. But when they were little, they both got into those ology books. Do you remember those? There was like Monsterology and Dragonology and all those ology books, and those were the most fun. And then I also really loved these really fancy pop-up books we got one year, just like the most intricate pop-ups. The one I remember best was a dinosaur one, but I think there was also like an undersea creatures one, because I think I remember the Kraken coming out of the book. And so I think it's especially nice at holiday to give a book that is especially physically beautiful, and especially with children, a book that's kind of also an activity can be fun. Like when they were way littler, like the lift the flap kind of books and pet the texture kinds of books. I need, not that I'm in a hurry for my older kid to become a mother or anything, but when I'm a grandmother, watch out.
Those ology books were pretty too. They were not only interesting, but they were pretty.
Yeah, they really were.
Yeah. Jeannie?
Oh my gosh, I love giving books and getting books so much. Most of the time, getting books is usually I ask for some sort of research book that I can't quite justify buying. And so last year I got The Invention of Murder by Judith Flanders. Not exactly perky and holiday, but I loved it. One of the best ones I ever got was an absolutely stunningly gorgeously illustrated version of A Dragon's Tale. And I forget the actual Dragon's Tale, the title of it, but an illustrator named Michael Haig does the illustrations, and they are stunning. And I still have that very prettily packaged, and I keep it as pristine as I can because I go look at it all the time. And the favorite one I ever gave was Samantha. You're talking about giving books to your kids. I gave my boys Snowmen at Night, which is a picture book that I now know by heart, even though my kids are 21 and 16. Because I read it so many times to them. But that was my favorite one to give, because then I got to read it all the time.
Sounds good. Patrick?
The favorite book I got one Christmas, my best friend in high school found a copy of Liege Killer, which I had read in high school and then could never find. It had gone out of print because I'd actually gotten it from the Science Fiction Book Club. I borrowed somebody else's copy. Never borrow books, just buy them. So I spent years looking for it. So one Christmas he found it and gave it to me as a Christmas present, which was amazing because I'd never been able to find it. This year I gave a friend of ours J.D. Blackrose's Seder in Space for Hanukkah, and she lost it. She was so excited to have a Jewish science fiction book to read for Christmas, or for Hanukkah. So that was a lot of fun.
Okay, Ginny.
Okay, so to read, I like A Christmas Carol, but I also really like David Sedaris's holiday collection, and I think it's called Holidays on Ice. I can't pull it up right now, but it's hilarious. It's his take on the various holidays, being an elf at Macy's and other things. And he's really a great humorist, and I think it's his funniest collection. So I like that. I like going back to that occasionally. And then I've been racking my brain for what's my favorite book that someone gave me, and I don't have an answer, but I can say probably pretty sure that Terry Pratchett's Hogfather was probably a Christmas gift when it came out, because I'm sure it was on that side of the year. At that time, he was doing 2 books a year in Discworld. And I'm pretty sure that was on the December side of the release. And that's his take on the Discworld take on Christmas, with the Hogfather being Santa Claus. So I liked that one. I liked his take on everything. So I'm sure I probably clapped the most whenever I got a Terry Pratchett book. And I'm certain there were other books that probably meant the world to me, but there have been so many. I can't remember. I can't just choose one.
Sounds fair. LR.
So half the fun for me is going to a bookstore and trying to find a book that my ex hadn't read, because she's a very avid reader and she hits the library up quite a bit. So I pick one from her favorite. I usually gave her 2 books, one from her favorite author, or an author that I knew had a new release, and it was J.D. Robb or Nora Roberts or whoever it might be. And The other one was trying to find a book that looked interesting to her, would be something in her wheelhouse that fingers crossed she never read, which is always a challenge, which made it fun. If you're looking for a gift for me, my preference would be a book about writers. Not necessarily how to write, but how they're almost like an autobiography, kind of like Stephen King's On Writing was. I love that book, and I would love to give that to any aspiring writer just because of the story behind it. So that's the kind of things I like to get for Christmas for as far as books go.
Okay. I think one of the best holiday gift books we got, and this was when the kids were little, mine are also in their 20s now, but it's called How Murray Saved Christmas. And it is a take on, of course, The Night Before Christmas, but a malfunctioning toy knocks Santa out cold. And so his elf goes to Murray, the guy who runs the all-night holiday diner, and says, "You're up all night, come help me save Christmas." And, you know, Christmas isn't Murray's holiday, but he doesn't want to see any kids get disappointed. So he and the elf team up, hijinks ensue. I think it's hysterical. I think it was written more for adults to get the humor than the kids, but the drawings are funny and it's really adorable. And I love that one. And I might sneak off and read it, even though the kids are all grown up. From a gift perspective, last year I wanted, no surprise, I'm a huge fan of the TV show Supernatural, and there were some out of print Supernatural books that I wanted. And I told my kids, yes, you can order them used. Yes, I just want them. And they went out and looked through Amazon and all the used booksellers and actually got them for me. So I was thrilled about that. And my best gift for myself of a book was this absolutely gorgeous coffee table book came out a little earlier this year from the guy who did the props and the sets for Supernatural. It's 15 years of gorgeous pictures of locations and hotel rooms and diners and all the sets they built for the show, which if you're a hardcore fan is kind of a big deal. And it's this beautiful coffee table book, which I forgot to mention. I have 2 fan fictions coming out on Winchester family business for the holidays. One's a Christmas story and one is a New Year's Eve story, and they are both illustrated by an artist. So they're going to be kind of fun coming up. So we've talked about books you've given, books you've received. How about just plain holiday books or books about a holiday that you've ever read that you enjoyed? And I'm going to kick that off with a recommendation for Carol by Darren Kennedy, who has a really intriguing reimagining of the Christmas Carol story. Samantha.
So I'm not generally big on reading a lot of Christmas things. I'm kind of new to Christmas, having married into it. But this year I was taking on kind of a holiday reading project. So I was pulling up my Goodreads here to see what all I read as part of it. But I said that this was a year I was having a hard time finding my holly jolly, because like I mentioned already, I'm a middle school teacher, and as you can imagine, it has been especially rough the last couple of years. So finding my holly jolly was hard. So a couple that I just read, I read The Christmas Hirelings by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. I knew her as a Gothic author. She wrote Lady Audley's Secret, which is one of my favorite books. And this one was so charming, had all the like reconciliation and family secret, but it all ends up well, of course, because this is a Christmas story this time, not a Gothic. And that's one I'd never read before that I really, really liked. And then I read this cute little Hanukkah romance by Sarah L. Roth, The Dreidel Spin. It's just a short story. It's like a 1 or 2 hour read at most. And but it was just so charming. You felt like you saw like 2 people that have both been alone found each other, and you were there watching them find each other, and it was so sweet. And then I've been trying to have a tradition of reading A Christmas Carol yearly, And this year, the way I read it was listening to Tim Curry read it as an audiobook.
Oh, wow.
And it was
Ooh.
as fabulous as you might think that is. Yeah.
I'll bet that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's this part where they're talking about Scrooge's nephew's laugh, and Tim does, his version of the infectious laugh, and I'm like, okay, Tim now has to come to all of my parties because I need that laugh at my parties. Like, Tim and I were so close.
Oh yeah.
How about you, Patrick? Patrick?
Yeah, sorry, I was getting off mute. So I will second the vote for Carol by Darren Kennedy. Mean Girls Meet Scrooge is his pitch line on it. The other book that I really enjoyed was The Krampus Clause by James McDonald. So the grandmother comes from the old world, brings her recipes for Christmas and a curse to go along with them. So it's a lot of fun, really good read. For kids, J.D. Blackrose, writing under Joelle Reese, which is a real name, and her rabbi brother wrote Courageous Candles, Hanukkah story. And so that's her first children's book. And it got the yellow or the orange tab on it, so that was really nice. So that's a really, really sweet book.
Nice. Jeannie?
Here. I was trying to think. I mean, I loved Carol. I loved The Krampus Tale. And I absolutely loved Nancy's Magic Christmas Guy, which was so fun. I just read this wonderful story called The Matzo Ball. I picked it up and it was so cute, and I loved that one. Stephanie Burgess's Snow Spell is set at the holidays, I think, and I loved that series completely. So.
Okay. Toni?
Okay, I'm gonna go back, talk about a time in the dark ages when you could not see things on streamers, when there was no VCRs, when you had to watch what came on TV and hope you got to see what you wanted. And my sisters for years had told me about this magical Christmas movie called Miracle on 34th Street. And at that time of my life, nobody was showing it. I actually read the book Miracle on the 34th Street, and it is absolutely charming. One of the author's name is something Valentine or Valentine something. I don't remember which, but it's a very sweet little book, just like the movie was very true to it. In a more modern realm, I always, when I need cheering up, I read Trojan Gold by Elizabeth Peters. It's not fantasy, it's a straight mystery, but it's set in the Alps, the German Alps. There's skiing, there's a winter festival, all while they're trying to solve the mystery of the Trojan Gold. And there's a romance, there's being trapped by an avalanche in an abandoned chapel on Christmas Eve. It's just a lovely book. It's got a lot of adventure and it's a lot of fun. So that one, for some reason, that's my Christmas book, is Trojan Gold.
Oh, sounds good. LR?
I've been racking my brain trying to think of a book I've read that has a holiday-centric theme to it, and I just can't think of one. A lot of the books I read span things that have great holidays in them, and I love to see how fantasy authors invent new holidays for their worlds, and that's always been really entertaining, and seeing how they do that. But usually they play a very minor role, so I'm gonna have to pass on this particular question.
Okay.
I was just informed that A Miracle on 34th Street was written by Valentine Davies. Thank you, Jeannie.
And Ginny?
Thank God LR went before me, because I'm pretty much in the same boat. But while everybody's been talking, and thank you for picking me last, I've been scraping out titles. One would be The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's always winter but never Christmas, but they basically bring Christmas. So I think that counts. And I loved those books. And ever since my first read through, I insist on reading them in chronological order, because it's just wrong to read them any other way. And then the other one, oh gosh, it's starting to escape me. What was it? Because I'm really like LR. I don't really read holiday-centric books very often. It's the same thing. Yeah, there's holidays in them, but it's not just about the holiday. and I had an actual, yeah, but this is about Christmas and it's gone. So I don't remember. I don't know. We're going to stick with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and be thrilled I could scrape Narnia into this. So.
And you're not actually last. Nancy's last.
We'll see.
But now I feel better since LR passed. So I actually do have a book for this one. My very favorite contemporary Christmas story is O. Henry's Gift of the Magi.
Yeah.
And for those who are not familiar with it, it's about a young couple in the Victorian or Edwardian era, to judge by their clothes. And they each know something the other one would really love for Christmas. And they have, in order to get that, they have to give up, each of them has to give up what he or she treasures. And so it's a really sweet, moving story. And our son had a beautifully illustrated picture book of it when he was small. But I actually read a lot of romance, and you can't walk in a bookstore without tripping over holiday romance anthologies. They're everywhere. Jeannie's A Yule to Remember was a lot of fun. And I read a lot of Grace Burrows and a lot of Patricia Rice, and they always do really good holiday romances. Yeah. And Anna Campbell does holiday romances set in the Scottish Highlands that frequently involve snow. And they're a lot of fun too. So for kids, or really for anybody, that edition's probably out of print, but I'm sure there's a beautiful edition of Gifts of the Magi out there somewhere. And then holiday romances, happy endings guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've got a problem with Gift of the Magi. My husband and I were just talking about this yesterday. I'm going to assume that this is a big old spoiler of what happens. Okay, if anyone hasn't read it, cover your ears, cover your eyes, whatever. But the man sells his treasured pocket watch in order to buy beautiful combs for his wife's hair. She has her hair cut to buy him a chain for his watch. Well, her hair will grow back. She will get to use those combs. His watch is gone forever. It's just not an even exchange to me. I don't know why. That just bothers me.
That is a very good point.
It is a good point. And it is the sacrifice. It's the sacrifice.
The sacrifice was good, but a temporary sacrifice versus that's it forever sacrifice.
Well, I sort of like to think that maybe by the time her hair grows back, because to have enough hair to really use combs, it takes a while. I like to think that by then they'll have enough money and he can get his watch back. But that's probably my.
Okay, I'll accept that. I will accept that.
That is a good point about that story.
On the slightly more serious side, one of the stories that we always loved when the kids were little and read every year was The Fourth Wise Man by Henry Van Dyke. And it's basically, everybody knows the story of the three wise men who show up with the gifts in Bethlehem. But in this story, there's a fourth wise man who sets off a little late, kind of hits every travel problem you could possibly hit. So he's not going to catch up with the others. And all of the gifts he brings along the way, he ends up giving to regular people to help them out of a jam. So it takes him years, and finally he arrives and he has none of his gifts left because he's used them to help other people along the way, and he's elderly now and he's missed the Christ child, and he feels like he has failed, and he's told, no, this is exactly what you were supposed to do with the gifts. You gave them to the people who needed them. And that's the real meaning. So I just love that one. It always makes me tear up.
Really sweet.
That's Henry Van Dyke's The Fourth Wise Man. And there's some beautiful illustrated editions out there. And on the totally frivolous and fun side, on the romance side, there is a series called Vale Valley. It comes out every year with a whole new slate of stories. They are all shifters. And it is male shifter romance in this little town that only exists. People can only find Vale Valley if they need it. And it is otherwise invisible to everybody else. But if you need Vale Valley, it will find you and bring you in, it's just a silly, frothy, frivolous, wonderful series if you just want some good fun. And there's another series called The Christmas Angel, and it's a multi-author series, again, male romance, set across time periods where there is an ornament that was a Christmas tree topper that was carved by an artisan, and it makes its way across all these time periods and places to bring true love to the person who finds it and needs it the most. So it's just a fantastic series. Well, believe it or not, we have blown through our time. And so I'd love everybody to go around, please, and tell us where we can find you online. And if you have a new, recent, upcoming book, Christmassy or not, let us know about it and where to find it. And we're back to the beginning with LR again.
You can find me on my webpage. It's lrgould.com. You can find me at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all as LR Gould Writes. And as far as a book, my Polar Protocol came out about a year ago, but thanks to the world as it is, treat it like it just came out yesterday and go buy it now.
That's a great sales pitch. Jenny?
I have a short story in the Derelict anthology from Zombie Needs Brains, which came out earlier this year. I have a short story in Gunfight on Europa Station from Baen Books, which is the ebooks are out right now. The physical books are, having supply chain issues, hopefully going to show up to Amazon before Christmas. Where I have a short story there, and coming up in now March, because of supply chain instead of February, I have a short story in the Reinvented Heart anthology, and all of those are me writing as Anita Ensall, and all of those stories are set in my Belters universe. And you can find me on www.ginnykoch.com, which is my website. I'm on Facebook as Ginny Koch, author Ginny Koch, Hairspray and Rock and Roll, and author of the Alien Catherine Kitty Cat series. And I'm on Twitter, and I am on Pinterest, and it looks like I'm on Instagram, but I'm really not, so just don't send me messages. And please buy all the books, any books. I'm going to echo LR. Treat everything like it's brand new and buy at Christmas.
Nancy?
Well, as mentioned, we have Christmas. I guess I should angle it. I always get things backwards on these film things. At Christmas on Outcast Station, which is available on all the online vendors. And I do have a couple of Christmas paranormal romance short stories. And my latest release was The Steel Rose, the second volume of the historical Borking's Honor trilogy from Falstaff Books. And you can find me at my website, nancynorthcott.com. I'm most often found on Twitter, where I'm at Nancy Northcott. And yes, it is probably not good for me to spend as much time on Twitter as I do, but that's the best place to find me. Like Jenny, I'm technically on Instagram. I haven't really gotten quite the hang of it yet, but I do have an Instagram page, and you can sort of find me there.
Okay. Jeannie?
Oh gosh, you can find me at jeannieadams.com. And you can find me at JPA Griffin on Instagram, where I'm posting lots of pictures of Scotland, because I'm currently doing my master's degree in Scotland, although I'm home for the holidays. You can find me on the Hive of Scum and Villainy that is Twitter. Like Nancy, I spend way too much time there. And you can find me here on ConTinual.
Fair enough. Patrick?
Hey, you can find me at patrickdugan.net. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram as Patrick Dugan Author. I've got Pistols and Potions, which will be out January-ish, which is my second book in the Watchers of Asteria. And then I'm also in a nonfiction anthology on fairy influences of modern cinema, and I have a essay in there on Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Nice. Toni?
I'm online. Like Christmas comes every year until I have the wherewithal to write another book. I'm going to just keep plugging this one, which came out actually a couple of Christmases ago, so it's not new. Online, I've got two websites for the two names. I'm at ToniLPKelner.com. I'm at LeePerryAuthor.com. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All the links are on my Facebook page, because honestly, I don't remember the names of them anyway. So it's easy. If you want to find any of those, go to those links. It'll find you. Yeah, and I think and I spend most of my time on Facebook, I'm afraid.
Okay. Samantha?
So hi again, I'm Samantha Bryant. You can find me at samanthabryant.com because I'm just really creative with my website names like that. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram as Samantha B Writer, just the letter B in the middle for Bryant, or because it's kind of funny to say Samantha B Writer with bad grammar like that. I'm also on Facebook. On there, I have to use my Dunaway, Samantha Dunaway Bryant, because there was already a Samantha Bryant. So far as books, the Menopausal Superhero series is pretty much all on sale right now because this is a new release month for me. The fourth book is called Be the Change, and it's coming out 2 days from filming. I don't know when this will air, but 2 days from filming this, it's coming out. And the first book in the series is Going Through the Change, if you want to start at the beginning. And there's the poster my husband made me with all the covers looking really impressive back there. It's like 8 books with my name on it.
Gorgeous covers too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Falstaff gets credit for that with Melissa. She's the one who made my covers.
And let's see, New Year's Eve at Canham Castle, Ring in the New at Canham Castle came out at the beginning of December. So that is our shared world series with that fictitious castle and town in England. And my characters in it are from my Badlands series this time around. Different set of characters each time. December 28th, we've got Shutdown Crew, which is the 4th Wasteland Marshals series, and that's a near future post-apocalyptic book that is co-written with my husband, Larry and Martin from Falstaff, and that comes out at the end of December. And then in January, we'll have The Devil You Know, which is the next Witchbane book that's a Morgan Bryce series. And I'm also part of a 100-author Prolific Works giveaway that is going to run all year next year, and each of us had to come up with a brand new story for it. So we are slowly unveiling that. It'll go live January 1st. My story is a Treasure Trail prequel, and that is called Your Book Boyfriend's Boyfriend. I always have to slow down to say that. It's not something you can just rattle off. And we do have a page on Facebook talking about that, so that you can know what's coming up and who's in it and what's going on there. But most of the time you can find me here at ConTinual. I'm pretty easy to find at gailzmartin.com, morganbryce.com, and like I said, right here at ConTinual. So thanks all of you for being fantastic panelists as always, and sharing your evening with us. And thanks so much for all of you for watching and listening. There'll be more holidays and more book stuff coming up here on ConTinual. So we'll see you online.